Hello, welcome back to Contemplative Living. We're trying to bring concepts into our everyday life of how to live better and how to live more connected to who we really are. And today's topic is one that's really close to my heart. It's integrity. When I worked in the corporate world and I was a manager and assistant director, one time they used to post things in the cafeteria, and they used to nominate, certain employees for different categories, like, most respectful or something like that. And one day I go up in the cafeteria and I see my face on one of the posters, and underneath it says integrity. And so my coworkers, voted me to be integrity. And I was really humbled by that and quite taken back, actually. I wasn't quite expecting that because I always believed that I would be, myself, true to myself, be authentic. And that's how I tried to conduct myself. Well, apparently it came across as being, authentic and full of integrity. So it reminds me of something that Spirit once said to me. Spirit once said, being means following your true self. And being at this moment and following to wherever it may lead. And so Spirit was really talking about, being connected to our true self at this moment, wherever it may lead us in life. And that is integrity. Following your true self. And that's what we're going to talk about. So let's get to it.
Welcome. Now creating a life of peace. This is Contemplative Living with David Bennett. Contemplations and reflections to help with spiritual living. This podcast is made possible by dharmatalks.com.
All right, so we're talking about integrity this morning. And I like to think of it as a guiding star. But, how many concessions can we make before we lose ourselves? This is, in today's world, we're constantly, everything is being thrown at us all the time. We're often faced with decisions that test our integrity. How many concessions are we willing to make before sacrificing our true selves? Is it worth compromising our values for acceptance and for success? Each concession chips away at the core of who we really are. And it leaves us wondering where that line should be drawn, in relationships, at work, in society. The pressures to conform can be overwhelming. And we may find ourselves bending to meet others' expectations or going against our own instincts, to avoid conflict. But how far can we bend? How far can we bend before we break? It's important to reflect on our choices. Reflect on our choices and consider if they align with our beliefs and our goals, with our ideals. Integrity is a wonderful ideal because it's about staying true to ourselves, even when faced with challenges and temptations. So, with integrity, we act with no alternative motives, and we only want to be honest and true to our own wholeness. Integrity is not just a word. It's not just a word that we toss around. It's not something that we take lightly. It's a principle. It's a principle that guides every action. It guides us in decisions. And when we operate with integrity, there are no hidden agendas. There's no selfish motives driving our behavior. We simply strive to be authentic and genuine in everything that we do. It is that guiding star. It leads us. It helps us when we need to make those critical decisions. We can lean into our integrity and allow it to give us the strength that we need to be true to ourselves. Think about it with your head, but navigate by your heart. I love this saying. This is another one of Spirit's sayings. And when it comes to making decisions, we often rely heavily on our logical thinking and our reasoning skills, right? However, there are times when following your heart may lead you to the right decision. Your head can help you to analyze a situation. That's without saying. And it can help us to weigh the pros and cons. But ultimately, it's your heart that guides you towards what feels right. And integrity is about staying true to yourselves and your values. So it requires not only thinking about what's right or wrong, but also feeling it deep within your core. So when faced with a challenging decision, take a moment to quiet the noise, the noise of logic, and allow your intuition to speak, and trust that inner voice, because that inner voice knows what's really best for you. Now, vanquish from the heart and mind all the monsters of desire, envy, maliciousness, and greed, and return to integrity. Those monsters of desire, envy, maliciousness, and greed, they often lurk in the shadows of our hearts and minds, clouding our judgment and leading us astray from the path of integrity. But what if we vanquish those demons once and for all? What if we were to cast aside the temptations that threaten or corrupt our souls? Instead, let's embrace honesty, humility, kindness, and generosity. Returning to integrity is not an easy task, no, but it requires courage. It requires self-awareness and a willingness to confront our own weakness. As we strive toward wholeness and authenticity in both thought and action, we begin to see the beauty that lies within ourselves. We discover that true fulfillment comes not from external validation or material possessions, but from living in harmony with our values, with that guiding star. So developing an honest, disciplined mind that is balanced with the heart, it brings us into wholeness. So integrity is not just about being truthful to our actions. It's also about aligning our thoughts and values with our behaviors. Yeah, it requires us to be conscious of our choices and always act in accordance with what we believe is right. True integrity goes beyond the mind. It involves balancing it with the heart. And this means allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and compassionate and empathic towards others. When we integrate these qualities into our character, we become not only honest and disciplined individuals, but also kind-hearted and understanding ones. So by cultivating both honesty and empathy within ourselves, we can achieve a sense of harmony between our rationality, and our emotions. And a balance allows us to navigate, the challenges that life throws at us all the time. So let's build upon what you have and merge your integrity with your spiritual focus. It's important to recognize our strengths and capabilities and continually to build upon them. And by merging our integrity with our spiritual force or our spiritual focus, we create a solid foundation, a foundation that guides us in making decisions, a focus that guides us in aligning with our beliefs, with our values. Integrity is the inner compass, that keeps us on track when faced with challenges or temptations. It requires honesty, authenticity, and consistency. Consistency is key. And because we want consistency in all aspects of our life. So when we're following that compass, when we integrate this virtue with our spiritual beliefs, we deepen our connection. We deepen that connection to ourselves and our connection to the world around us. Oops. So, understanding integrity and strong moral principles come from a mind that works in concert with divine unity. This is a profound concept, and it needs a little more introspection. And when we align our thoughts and actions with a higher power, we tap into an endless source of guidance and wisdom. Integrity is not just about doing the right thing when no one's watching. It's about living in harmony with our inner truth, and values. By connecting to divine unity, we're reminded of our interconnectedness with all living beings, leading us to make decisions that benefit not only ourselves, but also a greater good. So when faced with challenges or temptations, tuning into our divine nature can provide clarity, can provide strength, and help us to stay true to our beliefs. It's through that alignment that integrity becomes a natural extension, a natural expression of who we are. We're grounded in love. We're grounded in compassion and authenticity. So let's bring that into our being. I hope that we can continue to seek that connection, a connection with our divine nature, so that we can develop a way of living where we are connected to ourselves and the world around us, and we can stay true to our values and navigate life's complexities, and continue to strive to embody integrity in our thoughts, in our words, and especially in our actions. I hope you have a blessed week. Namaste.
Thank you for listening today to Contemplative Living with David Bennett. Please be sure to subscribe, listen, and share with your friends wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and the Podbean app. You can find the links to these on David's website, dharmatalks.com, on the Contemplative Living page. Have a blessed week.